This is the AWS News Desk, live from Seattle, with your host, Rudy Chetty.
We've got another jam-packed show for you today, starting with highlights from today's infrastructure keynote.
This year, we're delighted to launch AWS regions in Cape Town, South Africa, and Milan, Italy. We've also announced new regions coming in Switzerland, Indonesia, and Spain. And we'll be adding our second regions in India, Japan, and Australia. The last one was just announced earlier this week.
That's 24 geographic regions for AWS, with 6 more on the way. Powering those regions takes a significant amount of power, and a major update came today from Amazon.
We're proud to announce more than 3,400 megawatts of additional renewable energy projects, including our first projects in Italy, France, South Africa, and Germany. These projects will bring Amazon's 2020 total buy to nearly 4,200 megawatts of renewable power across 35 wind and solar farms. Sound impressive? It is. Amazon's renewable energy procurement in 2020 is the largest by a corporation in a single year, exceeding the record by 50%. It's also a 300% increase over the projects we announced last year. And this progress is a big part of why we now believe we're on track to hit our 100% renewable energy goal by 2025, 5 years ahead of our initial target of 2030 that we shared last year.
Peter DeSantis, who is responsible for infrastructure at AWS, noted that the company is on target now to hit its 100% renewable energy goal by 2025, 5 years ahead of schedule. Another announcement today is having a different kind of impact. Reporter Rob Munoz explains about a big upskilling initiative.
The rapid uptick in cloud adoption is challenging employers to upskill their own employees. Academic institutions are also offering more and more courses that can bring these much-needed skills to bear. AWS has long been a provider of free training for students and customers alike, but today they made a bold move.
Thinking long-term, we have to make sure that everyone around the world has access to those training programs, no matter what social status they are, economic background, or educational level. And today, I'm really excited to announce that for the first time, by 2025, AWS will help 29 million people grow their technical skills with free cloud computing skills training.
The announcement came today in a chat between AWS's Teresa Carlson and the founder of the World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab. AWS is investing hundreds of millions of dollars in free cloud computing training, and it's for people all across the world. Anyone can take advantage regardless of their tech knowledge.
There's definitely a deficit in technical talent out in the marketplace today. And, by doing this and building programs that are free and accessible to anybody, we want to make sure that we are providing education on technology that is in demand and helping our customers and helping individuals as they take their journey onto the cloud.
AWS already offers more than 500 free online courses, interactive labs, and virtual training sessions. It added 50 new ones just in 2020. One of the most popular programs for students is AWS Educate. Hundreds of thousands of students have used the program since it started, with more than 3,500 institutions globally using that curriculum to advance cloud skills. Another example is AWS Restart, a 12-week course that preps unemployed or underemployed individuals for careers in cloud computing. The course started in 2017 in the UK with a goal of getting military veterans new careers. The program now operates in 25 cities across 12 countries, and AWS aims to double the number of cities by the end of 2021.
One of the main things that the program allowed me to do, it allowed me to show my son an example of what perseverance and hard work looks like. He was there with me every step of the way. When he was home from school, I was home in school. So he's seen me working through the process. He's seen me prep for interviews. He's seen me get the job. So he's seen what hard work results to.
About 90% of Restart graduates land job interviews by the end of the program. Today's announcement from AWS to train 29 million people around the world builds on the commitment from Amazon last year. It announced investing $700 million to train 100,000 Amazon employees. In Seattle, I'm Rob Munoz.
Thanks, Rob. AWS is known for its customer obsession and working backwards from challenges to find the right solution. That process is reflected in the engineering teams and with the builders AWS employs. To talk about how AWS works with customers, I'm joined now by Sarah Cooper, who heads up the Outcome-Driven Engineering team. Hello, Sarah, and welcome to the show.
Hey, Rudy, how are you?
I'm good, thanks for asking. Let me start with our first question. What is outcome-driven engineering?
It's a good question. Outcome-driven engineering is fundamentally a team that works on identifying what some of the big transformational technologies are that we want to bring into the world, into this digital world of ours. And we work with strategic customers in those industries to build out the industry products and services that unblock the entire industry from recognizing those digital benefits.
And how do you work backwards with customers specifically?
Yeah, so we have kind of two fundamental ways. Amazon, of course, has a long history of the working backwards process. Many people have heard of our PR FAQs, where we start with looking at what do we want to accomplish? You know, how are we going to work together with our strategic co-development customers in order to accomplish something for their customers? So there's almost a customer within a customer in these co-developments that we work on in outcome-driven engineering. From that outcome that we're trying to drive, we look at what would be the perfect, scenario. What does, optimum inventory look like in a supply chain? Or, if we had cars that got better every single day, that's a desirable outcome that both BlackBerry and AWS want to accomplish, as do the auto manufacturers. So from that, we then work backwards to what do we need to accomplish today and what needs to change fundamentally in both the technology stack as well as, in our companies or in the marketplace.
And how do you develop or decide who to co-develop solutions with?
There's quite the process, actually. We're fundamentally, we take a couple of pages out of Jeff Bezos's book. It's usually a pretty good book to take some pages out of. One of the things that we focus on is big durable trends. We're really looking for things where, the industry has been moving in this direction for a while and where we want to accelerate those trends. As an example, working with Vector, which is a New Zealand energy distributor and smart meter management company, we're looking at what happens when you add all sorts of clean energy, wind that doesn't always blow and sun that doesn't always shine, into a power grid that's really designed for kind of central planning and highly predictable workloads. All of a sudden, you've got a grid that's got to be able to change dynamically, almost in real time. And so we're working with Vector on how do we make that happen so that, we don't end up with lots of wonderful clean energy technologies and electric vehicles and then have our grid fail us.
This sounds quite exciting. In fact, it sounds like IoT, and I have a background in it. You have an even deeper background in IoT, and the Internet of Things is playing a big role in a lot of developments. What is so appealing about it, do you think?
Well, I think it's, I'm not sure I would call it appealing. To be honest, I think it's a necessary evil. And that's from, over, I think it's been at least 15, maybe it's even 20 years of working in IoT in one way or another. But IoT is basically the change from the physical to the digital, right? It's measuring that physical world and turning it into data so that we can reason on top of it. And IoT, I hope someday, and this is going to be a little controversial, I hope it disappears. That means that we've been successful. If we stop talking about IoT and we talk about everything's connected, I mean, who today would buy a car that isn't a connected car if it's new? By all means, go get, an old 60s Camaro. But if it's a new car, you want it to be connected because that's what opens up the worlds of infotainment and, predictive maintenance and all these great capabilities. And so IoT is really that first kind of gatekeeper to getting access to the physical world. And it's really exciting if you think about, the power of cloud and all of the capabilities that we've heard about in reInvent. All of that happens when something has gone digital. And there's a whole big piece of the world out there, power grids, manufacturing plants, automotives that are just now becoming part of that digital world. And IoT is what makes that happen.
Awesome stuff. Well, thank you so much, Sarah, and we'll leave that there.
Thanks, Rudy.
That was Sarah Cooper, the General Manager of Outcome-Driven Engineering at AWS. As Sarah was just mentioning, a connected world is here to stay. The world of sports is big into gathering data for actionable insights. A great example of this is with the NFL. It is using the cloud to reinvent player health. Kicking it over now to Kevin O'Mara in Key West with the story.
Thanks, Rudy. Together, the NFL and AWS are working on an audacious goal: to make football and ultimately all sports safer. This would be a game changer on the gridiron. This has already helped the NFL to create a comprehensive injury reduction plan, tackling helmet safety, among other measures.
Moving players into better performing equipment, encouraging safer tackling techniques, and rules changes, all three underpinned by data and innovation, together have led to significant progress in keeping our players safe on the field. As a result of this three-pronged injury reduction plan, we saw a 24% drop in reported concussions during the 2018 season. And the 2019 season saw reported concussions remain at that lower rate. This validated our intervention. That's what we mean when we talk about our key drivers, data and innovation, that have evolved the game and will continue to evolve the game. And AWS is helping us to do that.
What started as a fan engagement and game enhancement tool is now a critical underpinning to player health. Tapping into AWS's next-gen stats and Amazon's SageMaker, the NFL is hard at work training deep learning models to reinvent the game of football and make it safer for athletes.
Our goal is to improve player safety by eventually being able to predict and therefore prevent injury. AWS's AI and machine learning services, combined with the NFL's data, will speed an entire generation of new insights into player injuries, game rules, equipment, rehabilitation, and recovery.
Part of this safety reinvention process involves developing the digital athlete. Once complete, it can run infinite simulated scenarios in a game environment to train that model, all with the goal of protecting athletes. The NFL and AWS have put a call out to any athletes willing and able to help. The crowdsourced computer vision challenge allows anyone from any sport to submit data. The resulting insights have the potential to revolutionize injury prevention, much further than the football field. In Key West, I'm Kevin O'Mara.
With that, we cap off week 2 of the AWS News Desk. We'll be back next week. Amazon CTO Werner Vogels will join us with some predictions for the new year. Thanks for watching. I'm Rudy Shetty, AWS News Desk, signing out.